Hey there guys, welcome to a brand new video on my channel. I wanted to do something a little bit more World Cup related, so today I've brought you guys a group stage review of all of what's happened in the group stages so far. It's been an epic World Cup so far with, I believe, just one 0-0 game, so it's been really fascinating so far. Plenty of goals, plenty of talking points, and we're basically going to be recapping everything, going through group by group, and yeah, this is going to be insane. So we're going to do from group A all the way to, I believe it's group H is the last one, the one with Colombia and Senegal in, and yeah. We're going to basically do that. I'm going to be reviewing the games that were in those groups, going to be reviewing the teams, how I felt they performed. This is going to be a nice little review basically for you guys. And I'm also going to then give my predictions for the round of 16 for those matches coming up. Basically just to see what's going to be coming up for us and who are the teams that have progressed from the group stages and how far they could potentially go in this competition. So we're going to be starting off here with Group A. This one had Uruguay, Russia, Saudi Arabia and Egypt in, and that's actually how it finished. Uruguay on 9 points, Russia on 6 points, and Saudi Arabia on 3 points, and of course Egypt surprisingly ended up on 0 points there. Many of people thought they were going to be going through instead of Russia, but I backed Russia. I actually got my prediction right for this one, by the way, but we're not going to be going through that now. Of course, I'll do that in a separate video, seeing if I got my predictions correct or not. But basically, Uruguay, they played, They played Egypt in their first game, won 88th minute winner. It's what Uruguay do. That I felt as if they defended really well in this tournament. They also ended up beating Saudi Arabia by 1-0. Luis Suarez got the goal on that day. Before Maria Jimenez actually did get the goal against Egypt. And then they ended up beating Russia 3-0. I know Russia went down to 10 men relatively early on in that match, but it was actually a goal from, I think it was Suarez again. Yeah, it was a nice Suarez free kick actually, then an own goal from Shelichev, surprisingly of all people, and then actually a Cavani goal in the 90th minute just to finish the deal. Russia, they started off really well actually. They ended up beating Saudi Arabia 5-0 on the opening day of the tournament. That was a really good performance from them. 2 goals for Shelichev, who went on to shine in their next game, getting another goal once more off the bench against Egypt, who seem to have crumbled a little bit this tournament. I know they didn't have Salah in their first game against Uruguay, and that hurt them a little bit when they get offensively, but yeah, they just weren't that good. In terms of Saudi Arabia, I feel as if they played some nice stuff, but were never had the nice building blocks of their team to go on and do anything in this tournament, especially not with a group with Uruguay, Russia and Egypt in it. But having said that, they did do really well on the last day. They beat Egypt 2-1, probably deserved to win despite Mohamed Salah opening the scoring. And yeah, all in all, Uruguay left the group without conceding a single goal. And they did really well there, not even to concede a goal to the likes of Russia, Saudi Arabia and Egypt, who aren't the best of sides, of course, but can hurt you. And I feel as if the 3-0 win, despite against 10 men against Russia, was a really impressive mark for Uruguay, and it's basically put their stamp of authority on this tournament. In terms of Russia, they impressed. They got some nice big victories. They scored a lot of goals. They scored 8 in total, but they were leaky at the back against Uruguay, and Uruguay don't usually score too many goals, so that's a little bit of a shock for them. Saudi Arabia, they got 3 points, probably more than they expected coming into the tournament, and Egypt certainly would have expected to at least finish third. That's probably a little bit poor from them. In terms of Group B, this was an absolutely crazy group. This was where all the drama really happened in the World Cup. The games were incredible, and for this one I'm going to go through game by game, by the way, and then I'll wrap it up, but we're going to be talking a lot about Group B, considering I'm a Spain fan as well. So the first game of Group B was actually Morocco-Iran. I was backing Morocco for this one. I feel as if they had a better team, but I always forget about how good Iran are at defending, and once more they did that. They executed their game plan perfectly, and they got a 95th minute late winner. One of their first goals, if not their first goal ever scored at a World Cup. They usually just get 0-0s, but yeah, they've got the 1-0 win, and well, they look really, really strong defensively, Iran, and as we sure do know, they are incredibly good at defending Iran. So difficult to score against. If you're going to score against them, it's usually only one goal. They will never get beaten 3-0, no matter the opposition, but yeah, they got the win against Morocco. Poor for Morocco. They also created a little bit of an issue here with Spain and Portugal, who would have liked that maybe to be a draw, just so that they can then take leeway in the group, but Spain-Portugal followed that evening, a crazy game, a hat-trick from Ronaldo, 2 goals for Costa, a screamer from Nacho, another brilliant individual goal from Costa too, but that was an insane game, so much drama, probably the best game of the World Cup we'd seen at that stage, and that was a crazy match. Portugal then ended up beating Morocco, sending them out of the World Cup, who, by the way, I thought had a really nice tournament. I feel as if they played really well, especially in that last game against Spain, which of course I'll get onto later, but all in all they actually did really well, but just couldn't find the finishing touch really. Yeah, Ronaldo goal in the 4th minute, his 4th goal of the tournament, looking good for Portugal really there at that point. Then Spain wanted to scrape a win against Iran. That's all you can do really. A lucky goal off Diego Costa. We didn't play that well that game, I didn't feel. Iran-Portugal was then 1-1, and Spain-Morocco was then 2-1 in the final group stage match. And there was late drama right to the final whistle here. A wonderful goal from Quaresma in the Iran-Portugal game, and then a controversial VAR penalty decision, which was probably the worst use of VAR in the tournament so far, I'd say. Certainly in that game. The referee just lost the plot in it. And the Spain-Morocco game was crazy. You know, Morocco, Iran, Portugal and Spain all showed up this tournament, I feel. And that's what this made it. It's such a good group. I feel as if any of the 4 teams could have gone through to the knockout stages. They all played out of their skin, especially Morocco and Iran. And if I'm being honest, I think Spain and Portugal can count themselves lucky to be in the knockout stages as things are standing, because there was some really stern opposition in this group. And yeah, as I was saying, we'll talk about the drama, because basically in the last couple of minutes of these 2 games, Iran scored their penalty, and if the Iran-Portugal game had finished 1-1 and the Spain-Morocco game had ended 2-1 to Morocco, then Spain would have been going out of the World Cup, we would have been coming 3rd, but Iago Aspas got a flick goal which was ruled onside by VAR, and that basically meant that we went from 3rd to 1st place on goals scored. It was a crazy ending. Portugal fans would have been gutted. They would have liked to think they could have been getting top spot on this, but then Iran scored their penalty. They maybe thought, we can nick this here. And then they already also thought, right, Morocco are beating Spain, perfect for us and Portugal go through. But then Spain come in with a goal, knock Iran out. It was absolutely chaotic, and yeah, it was insane really, and a massive ending to Group B there. But all in all, Spain did come top, Portugal did come 2nd. That's how people expected it, but just not in this way. In terms of Group C, everyone expected France to absolutely dominate this one, but it just didn't end up going like that. France did come top of the group on 7 points, which is a nice advantage for them to have. In came 2nd with Denmark, and 3rd came Peru, I thought, really unfortunately, and Denmark, and Australia, despite their good penalty record, just couldn't get themselves over the line in the end. So yeah, we'll start with France. Didn't look too convincingly, only beat Australia 2-1, quite luckily I'd say too, a penalty and an own goal. Then they just about beat Peru, who I thought played really well that game, as did they do for the rest of the tournament. And then they got a 0-0 draw on the last day against France, where I think both teams were settled for the point really. But in terms of Peru, guys, I feel as if they're just like Morocco and Iran, a team that's gone out of the World Cup. They probably shouldn't be out of the World Cup, but they are. It's a big disappointment for them, obviously. They won't be liking that. But yeah, they have gone home, they've gone 3rd. Australia put in a good effort actually. I think they're harder to play against than most people think. And I think I need to start taking into consideration some of the underdogs when I'm making my predictions in the future. Because, I mean, everyone predicted France to beat Australia, say, that 4-0, but it's just never like that in the World Cups. Teams always show up, teams always give it 110%. That's what Australia did most of the tournament, but they're up now, as are Peru. France and Australia will continue in the World Cup. On to Group D now, guys. This was another absolutely crazy group, I'd say, in terms of late drama and how things went. Yeah, so what I will say is that Croatia really do look like they could go on and win the whole thing. If they keep up how they're doing, they've got 9 points out of a possible 9 in their group, just like Uruguay. Those are the only 2 teams so far that we've been through that have managed to do that. That's really, really impressive from them. And yeah, well, Croatia, they've gone top of the group. They beat Nigeria 2-0. They beat Croatia, they beat Argentina 3-0. Then they got a last-minute winner with a rested team against Iceland, which is really impressive. 2-1 there. Badelj and Perisic getting the goals. Argentina, throughout the tournament, looked disjointed, disappointing. They got a 1-0 draw against Iceland. They probably should have got more out of that, but they were humiliated against Croatia. And a last-minute Marcos Rojo goal, which was followed on by some messy magic in the first half, was enough for them to go through. Nigeria probably unfortunately went out of this tournament, as did Iceland, I'd say. And again, 2 teams that probably could have been in the knockout stages, but I would have always said that Croatia deserved to go through. And maybe they should have been joined by Nigeria, who I thought really got quite unfortunate in this tournament. They didn't play well in the first game against Croatia. Yes, they should have lost that. They went on to beat Iceland, and it's really unfortunate the way things came around that they ended up getting knocked out by Argentina, who really haven't had a good tournament, and I can't really see them going that far with the way they're playing. And now we roll on to Group E, a group which everyone expected Brazil to dominate, and, well, you could say they did so. I think Brazil did do a really good job here. I think a few people after their first game against Switzerland, the 1-0 draw, were slating them a little bit, but it's their first game in the tournament. They wanted to impress. There's a lot of weight on their shoulders when they are one of the favourites to go on and win the whole thing, and there are a lot of bookies' favourites. They had to go and produce, and I think they did, honestly. I really do. I think that Coutinho's come up massive for them in this tournament. He ended up getting 2 goals and an assist. I know Paulinho and Thiago Silva got the goals in the final game there against Serbia, but all in all, 1-0 against Switzerland. They're a hard opposition, that's fair enough. 2-0 against Costa Rica, of course, in the manner it came in, not good, but when Costa Rica put 11 men behind the ball like they do, and that's what happens for teams like Brazil and Spain. It's much harder to beat teams because they don't try and attack against you, basically. They just put 10 men behind the ball, and you've got to try and break it down, and Brazil eventually did, of course, with 2 late goals from Coutinho and Neymar. Against Serbia, there's a little more open, and I think that Brazil exploited that. While still looking a little shaky at the back, goals from Paulinho and Thiago Silva were enough for them. Switzerland ended up coming second there, ahead of Serbia, maybe controversially, but it was actually the Switzerland-Serbia game. They probably decided that. Mitrovic put Serbia 1-0 up very early on, like the 3rd or 4th minute. I do indeed believe the man from Fulham. But before, Xhaka scored a screamer, and then Shaqiri with a late winner, and the Ronaldo celebration, and that basically meant that Switzerland were going to go through at that point. And then in the last day of the tournament for them, they ended up drawing against Costa Rica 2-2, but that was enough for them anyway. They went through after that on 5 points, which was good enough for them, and Serbia went crashing out of the World Cup. Maybe then, unfortunately, after they did beat Costa Rica 1-0, which is decent. But yeah, I just don't think Serbia was strong enough as a team, although they do have some good players. But I do think that players such as Milinkovic, Savic, who everyone was expecting so much from, maybe didn't live up to the hype. I think as if Mitrovic was good for them, but I do think that Switzerland are the right team to go through in this group, certainly second behind Brazil. And now then, guys, we move on to Group F, an absolutely crazy group. Germany finished bottom of this group, followed by South Korea in 3rd, Mexico in 2nd, and Sweden have come top of this group. Very, very unexpected, really, this one. Absolute scenes. This is unbelievable, I feel. We start with the first game. Mexico beat Germany. What a performance that was, can I just say. That was absolutely wonderful from Mexico. Germany not living up to the hype. They just did really poorly. Sweden ended up beating South Korea in the second game of this group. Penalty from Grankvist, I do believe. Mexico then went on to get their second win of the tournament, a 2-1 win. Not away because it's neutral, but they were indeed away to Korea, as in the fact they were South Korea versus Mexico. You guys know what I mean. But yeah, Mexico ended up getting the win there, meaning they were on 6 points in pole position for the group. Germany then against Sweden went 1-0 down before the break. Then Royce got them back into it, but Boateng then put them on to 10 men. Everyone's thinking, well, there's got to be a draw here, or maybe even a German loss if Sweden can exploit this. But an absolutely wonderful 95th minute winner from Toni Kroos meant that people were going to be thinking that it's just classic Germany, isn't it? They're going to be going through. But we move on to the final day, Mexico-Sweden. Mexico with a chance to secure top spot just with a draw here, but Sweden flipped the tables on them. They got 3 goals. They won by 3-0. That puts their goal difference up massively. Their goals for up massively, and it hurt Mexico big time, as Mexico ended up coming second in that group, Sweden first. And well, Mexico could have even been knocked out if Germany had just done the normal thing in beating South Korea, but they just couldn't do it. Germany got knocked out by South Korea of the World Cup. Certainly the most disappointing side, Germany, they have been in this tournament. They've been so sloppy, so naive, and well, it's happened over the past couple of years now. I think you guys have probably seen in the media, everyone going on about it. You win the World Cup next year in the World Cup, next 4 years even. You get knocked out in the group stages. That's been happening for a while now. It happened to Italy, I believe it happened to France in 2002. Then it happened to, of course, Germany now, Spain. You know, a lot of teams are finding it difficult to find the form from the previous World Cup in the next one. And I feel as if Germany didn't take enough of their young players. Sané had to be in this squad for me. They lacked the pace, they lacked the urgency, and they're deservedly out of this World Cup, I feel. But Sweden first, Mexico second. Very, very interesting. And now guys, we move on to the penultimate group here, probably the easiest group of the whole competition, because it basically meant that Belgium and England had secured passage into the next round as they came up against Tunisia and Panama. Belgium beat Panama by 3-0. They also beat Tunisia by 5-2, and then recently they ended up beating England by 1-0, but that didn't really matter, I don't think, that group stage game. It actually stirred up a few things, and maybe that result is better for England, even though they lost it, but we'll get on to that a little bit later. Tunisia actually beat Panama on the last day, though, can I just say, and that means that they will indeed be coming third, Panama fourth, Belgium first, England second. But England, they beat Tunisia 90th minute. A little bit disappointing probably for England, but I don't think their fans cared at all. They got the win, they got the 3 points, but to only beat Tunisia in added time is a little bit of a worry for them. But after that, they shut up all the critics with a 6-1 win against Panama. And yes, it's Panama, and they are absolutely dreadful, believe me they are, but to score 6 goals in a World Cup is impressive, and you've got to give it to them. Hat-trick for Kane, a few of the goals coming in from the likes of Stones too and Lingard, and yeah, they did really well that day basically. But they have looked leaky at the back, England. They're still yet to keep a clean sheet this tournament, and they're going to be facing Colombia in the round of 16, which is really interesting actually, because Belgium are going to be coming up against Japan, who I would argue are easier opposition, but after that, if Belgium get through, they're actually on the way harder side of the draw. They're on the side of the draw with Uruguay, Portugal, Brazil, Teams such as that, Mexico. So that's going to be really interesting, whereas England are on the side of the draw with Spain, Russia, Croatia, Denmark, Sweden. This is really interesting, basically. Switzerland 2 in there. So if England do manage to get through against Colombia, then they could be in the money here. And now, guys, we move on to the final group, which is Group H, a really interesting group once more, guys. And well, it ended up with Colombia coming first, and it ended up also with Japan coming second. How unexpected was that? Can we just have a word about Poland, who was so poor this tournament? Lewandowski never hit the ground running. He didn't do anything this tournament. Absolutely static up front, didn't even get a goal, maybe not even an assist, but I'm not sure about that. I could be wrong on that. But Poland was so poor in the end. They did get a win on the last day against Japan, can I just say, though. A bend the night goal, the man from Southampton, who recently was introduced to their side at the latter end of the season last year. But yeah, Colombia are coming top of this group, which they'll be very pleased with, considering I feel as if this group was massively underperforming. And if we're being honest, the two teams that probably should have gone through in this group were Senegal and Japan. But Senegal have missed out here on second place to Japan on yellow cards. They've had 6 yellow cards, Japan have had 4, which is now going to mean that Japan are going to join Colombia in the round of 16. Controversy for sure. Senegal will not be pleased about that, considering they had an absolutely wonderful tournament, but they just couldn't pull through in the end, and it's really unfortunate the way teams such as Spain and Portugal maybe have undeservedly go through, and then teams such as Senegal have so harshly went out, who I feel probably didn't deserve to go out in this tournament. But Colombia and Japan have gone through, and I feel whoever they play in the round of 16, they're going to get beaten. But I think Japan are going to get beaten by Belgium, and I also feel as if Colombia are going to get beaten by England. I don't feel as if they're strong enough this year, actually unbelievably. But yeah, you know what, we'll see. We'll still wait to see if they can pull through Colombia. But at the moment, they just haven't really had that spark in them, apart from the game against Poland. But against Senegal and against Japan, I feel as if they looked really poor. And without James Rodriguez, if that is a long-term injury they sustained against Senegal, they're going to be in big trouble, I feel. So then, guys, those were all the groups reviewed. It was a crazy group stage, plenty of goals. I hope you guys did enjoy that part of the video. Now we're going to move on to the round of 16, and I'm going to be going through the fixtures one by one, giving my predictions. France-Argentina, I'm going to go for 2-1 to France. I know it's quite a generic scoreline, you think, but I think it could happen in a World Cup. I don't really expect lots of goals. I don't really expect any team in the round of 16 to be scoring more than 2 goals in a game. Can I just put that point out there too? No matter the opposition, I feel as if everyone's slightly tough by now. I feel as if Argentina just haven't got enough in them, despite France looking really sloppy this tournament too. That's why I feel as if it is going to be quite a low-scoring game. I think Messi could get a goal for Argentina, but I think France have too much attacking talent to not score. And if France do get it together, despite having a poor start, they will beat Argentina here. Uruguay-Portugal is promising to be an absolute classic of a World Cup game. Uruguay, of course, they've got the good strikers, they've got the good defence, but I feel as if their midfield is just so poor. And I think that despite the fact they've got a good defence, I just can't help but think that Ronaldo's going to score a lot of goals here, and I'm backing Portugal to win this one 2-1, and Ronaldo to get up to 6 goals in the tournament with 2 goals in this game. And I think Suarez could also get one though for Uruguay. I feel as if Uruguay will score. Portugal's defence is just not good enough, and despite the fact that Uruguay's defence is so good in that they haven't conceded a goal so far, I feel as if Ronaldo is ready to break that, and I feel as if he will. Now moving on to my team, Spain, who I've been really quite disappointed with this tournament. I know that's also down to the fact that we sacked our manager a day before the tournament actually ended up starting. We've brought in Hierro, who I just feel doesn't know what he's really doing in terms of being a manager. I think he's a great figurehead for the side, but I don't feel as if we have the tactics, and we look a little unorganised at the moment. Having said that, I feel as if we will get past Russia. I'm going for 2-0. Diego Costa and Isco with the goals. I believe in those two boys. We've had really good tournaments so far. But if our defence doesn't step up, we will get beaten by Russia. Croatia-Denmark is one of those really interesting games where there could be quite a few underdogs walking their way in here to the quarter-finals, whereas teams such as Uruguay, Portugal, France or Argentina could be out. So for this one, I'm going to go for Croatia. I do feel as if they could honestly go on to win the whole thing if they sustain this confidence and this stability they have in their side at the moment. They seem very compact, they seem very organised, and they seem like a good team. They've got a lot of confidence in them to go ahead and beat Argentina 3-0. And they're basically acting like a top team at the moment, which I think you need to have basically at this stage of the tournament. And yeah, I'll back Rakitic and Modric to pull them over the line in this one. I'm going for 2-0 for them against Denmark, who I don't feel have really set the World Cup alight so far. Brazil-Mexico is one of those that I feel promises to be an absolute classic again, and I feel that Mexico are going to miss out on this one by the skin of their teeth. I think Brazil are going to win 2-1. I think there's going to be drama, there's going to be penalties, there's going to be absolute nonsense in this one, maybe even some fights. I'm backing Mexico to put in an absolute shift here, can I just say. But I think with Coutinho and Neymar, Brazil will prevail. Belgium-Japan is probably the most comprehensive victory we'll have, and that's going to be 2-0, I say, to Belgium. I do feel as if Japan will be able to hold their own, as they proved that they can do in the group stages. But I do indeed believe that Hazard, Lukaku, if Lukaku is fit, by the way, though, will be able to bring Belgium over the line in this one, and we'll be able to send Belgium into the quarterfinals, where they will face some tough opposition here, believe me. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely brilliant to see what happens in that game. Can Japan cause an upset? I don't think they can. I think the Belgium are going to win that one 2-0, as I previously said. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see, of course, though. But I think Belgium will look quite good this tournament. Sweden-Switzerland, I believe, is the worst round of 16 game we have here. There's going to be two teams who I feel are really quite poor, and whoever wins in the Colombia-England game, I believe, is going to have free passage right into the semi-finals. So England fans, it's looking very good for you at the moment, because I'm going to back Sweden to win this one. I don't think that Switzerland have been that good so far in this tournament. I feel as though Sweden have been slightly better, and that 3-0 win against Mexico to top their group with the likes of Germany in it has indeed convinced me that Sweden will go on to win this one. And yeah, I'll back the likes of Berg and Granqvist even, who's the centre-back, has been scoring, I think he's got 2 goals from so far this tournament. I'll back them to do something here. And finally, Colombia versus England. On paper, at the beginning of the tournament, I would have backed Colombia to maybe wipe the floor with England here. I feel as though they've got so much more about them. But England have come into this tournament with a point to prove. They've got a nice young squad. They all seem very together. And Colombia seem absolutely all over the place at the moment. A little bit disjointed, if I'm being honest. And without Yerry Mina's goals, if he doesn't get them, which he will be quite challenged for height in England, then I think England can prevail in this one. I think England will win, and they'll go on to play Sweden in the quarterfinals. They'll probably end up beating them, and then it's over to the semi-finals, which is, well, they're on the verges of making it through to all the way to the final here, England, if they can make it through the last couple of hurdles that they've got in their way. But yeah, it's looking good for England at the moment, and I back them to beat Colombia too. And that was where this video is going to have to come to an end, guys. Please do smash a like on it if you have enjoyed it. It will mean the world to me. And yeah, I wanted to bring you guys kind of a more World Cup related video where I actually talk. I don't just do like a video game such as FIFA, or the World Cup mode in FIFA, which is an addition that they've added. But I do want to bring you guys videos of. I don't really know what to do on them. Yeah, let me know if you have any suggestions for what videos you guys want to see in the future. That would mean the world to me too. Those are my round of 16 predictions. That's my review of the group stage, which was, I believe, absolutely epic. And again, leave your thoughts on literally everything to do with the World Cup, my channel. Just leave what you want in the comment section down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.